And his mother and brothers came to him. This is Yeshua. His mother and brothers came to him and were unable to get to him because of the crowd. And it was reported to him, saying, your mother and your brothers are standing outside, wishing to see you. And he answering said to them, my mother and my brothers are those who are hearing the word of Elohim and doing it. So, we've had quite a little discussion over the last couple of parts dealing with things like, who is in the world and who's not in the world, what's considered being in the world, who your family is. He's telling you, don't take this as, Rabbi, you're getting involved here and meddling and stuff. He's telling you that he himself was more concerned with those who are doing the word of Elohim being family than those of bloodline relationship. And so I want us to really understand as we're going through all of this, one of the things we may need to overcome is our disconnected understanding, not our fault necessarily, we're raised that way, with who really your family is. But we all share a blood connection of being covered by the blood. So now we're dealing with a whole different metaphor of a blood relationship. So you are blood relations. If you are what? If you are those who are hearers and doers of Elohim's word. We have to take this seriously because we are never going to have the body grow into what it's going to need to be, which, by the way, is why I think the Father tarries and why Yeshua hasn't returned yet. It's not because we're waiting on magical blood moons or waiting for some magical count to 6,000 years. He's tarrying because we're just not ready. The millennium going into the kingdom is ultimately leading to this eternal kingdom of forever family. I've called it in the past preparing for the forever community. I think I was wrong. It's preparing for the forever family who lives in community. The Ruach is there to help you confirm what the physical person is trying to lead you through. The Ruach is there as a confirmation. When we're told, prove the spirits, test the spirits, the Spirit is also there to help you test the person. See if what they're doing, like the Bereans would do, go and look it up and see if what they're saying actually matches up. Now, the enemy wants to get involved in all that. We talked about this the other week, about the three voices in your head. One of them's the enemy, and the enemy's trying to convince you that he's the Ruach. He's the one trying to encourage you. And by the way, he's not trying to encourage you in something that you never thought of. He's trying to convince you that you have the Ruach, that it's your spirit and man that's right. He's trying to encourage you that the Ruach is encouraging you that what you wanted, what you thought, what you desired actually was the right way to go. And that's where we really get disconnected a lot. Is everybody, I keep reading all this stuff online all the time. The enemy wants to do this and the enemy wants to do that. Look, the enemy wants to do one thing. He's trying to get you to have what you want to make you happy and pleasurable, especially if it's counter to what the Father has said. That's the same thing you should be looking for in a man who's teaching you. Is that man trying to point everybody to him or try to point you to the Father? Or point you to Yeshua, who points you to the Father? So if I'm trying to get you guys all to focus on me and point to me and look at me, you should not be listening to a word I have to say. So you should never see me doing that. You should be hearing me always trying to point you to them. And as long as that's going on, that's all Yeshua did. Yeshua said, look, he didn't want you to focus on him. He said, I'm pointing you to the Father. I came to show you the Father. I came to reveal these things to you. So what is my job? I'm trying to reveal Yeshua to you and the Father and to lead you to them. So again, the connection to, as I was saying earlier, was to being free from sin. What is sin? The transgression of the Torah. So that brings cursing, suffering. And he says, I've got a way for you to be set free, not from Torah, which is what Christianity would say. You're being set free from sin. So notice that he changes from I do what I've seen to you do what you've heard. I think that's an important distinction there because he's got a full witness to what the Father's. He said, I've seen the Father. I've heard him. I've seen it. I've got all of my understanding there. He says, you're just listening to somebody. You've not seen the fruit of it. You don't know where the path leads. You're just buying into something you've heard. And I have people come up to me all the time like, well, Rabbi, I heard blah, blah, blah. Is that something we're supposed to be doing? Or I heard this, or I heard that. What else do you know about the person you heard that from? Have you seen them? Do you know their walk? Do you know what they do? Do you know where they came from? Do you know where their background is? This is what happened when Moses had the anointing from him put on the 70, and then Joshua got all jealous because they spoke like Moses, like someone with authority. And that's kind of what you're looking for in the one that's discipling you. Are you seeing someone who speaks as one with authority? That doesn't mean that person's claiming to be a prophet, but you understand what I'm trying to say here? In other words, does that person speak as someone with authority? In other words, by with authority, I mean someone under authority who's been given authority. Someone under authority who's been given authority. And so you should see in me, whoever the teacher is that you're looking at. So I'm using me as the example because obviously I'm the one standing up here. You should see that authority, but also see that someone is under authority. Now, lots of you, if not all of you, have already been under teachers that you saw they were self-authority. They were not under any authority. They were not submitted to Torah. There was no evidence of submission to Yeshua. And so that's not the teacher you want. See, but people will read this saying, oh, these people, the Jews, were of the devil. No, the people having the pride and ego and lying to themselves and then allowing the father of lies to encourage them in that, they were of the devil. Had nothing to do with being Jewish or being anything. It had to do with just being human. We all do it. When I don't like and I don't want, or I like and I prefer, doesn't match up with what Yahweh said or what the Father is saying, well, the enemy jumps right in and says, yeah, that's great. Go with what you want. Let's go with your preference. That's when you're buying into and following and serving and submitting to the father of lies. He's not the one generating the lie, though. You are. Just realize that. He's the encourager of the lie. He's bolstering the lie. Just like it said that Yahweh did with Pharaoh, he strengthened him in the way he wanted to go. The enemy does the same thing with you. He strengthens you in the way that you want to go. But it's the way you want to go. So let's stop giving him authority and credit for stuff that's not him. Work on you. You work on you and he can't do anything. If you do not hear his words, stop claiming to be of him. It's the fruit that tells you of him. Altar calls don't do it. Baptisms don't do it. Stopping to say Jesus and say Yeshua doesn't do it. Stopping to eat pork and eat that, none of that does it in itself. You got to hear his words and transform your mind, transform yourself through the renewing of your mind, letting the mind of Yeshua be in you, so that you become like him. So that you become transformed and conformed into his image. By image, meaning not that you kind of look like him in your grooming or whatever, but you actually look like him in your character, in your thought process, in your actions.